In Japan, more than 200,000 LPIC exams were delivered so far, and more than 70,000 people were certified in a domain of Linux. And probably we are the second largest vendor-neutral IT professional certifications in assessing the technical competency level of the, again, IT professionals.
Right.
I'd like to know how you view LPI and our certifications.
We need more. I mean, I love everything that LPI does.
Thank you.
But do more. The biggest challenge for the growth of Linux really is availability of professionals. That's why Linux sysadmins make more money than an average sysadmin. That's why Linux developers have higher salaries than an average developer. There's a shortage. There's a worldwide shortage of Linux talent because Linux is growing faster than any other platform in every single segment of IT. And so my thoughts about LPI Japan is I love it, but please do more. Okay.
Okay, we'll do our best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. I think in open source environment, the IT people have very different set of motivation to contribute for open source community, which is something beyond money aspect, money incentive aspect.
Right.
Would you explain why they are motivated to contribute without being paid?
Yeah, well, I think Linus Torvalds said it the best. He wrote a book titled "For the Fun of It." It
was translated into Japanese, and so if the listener can check the book.
Yeah, I mean, it really sums up why Linus, to this day, every day works on coding and managing the Linux kernel project because it's fun. And the reason it's fun is because computer programmers, creative people, they're like artists. They're like poets and painters, right? And you don't go into poetry if you want money. There's a different motivation.
Right. Yes.
And interestingly, in the U.S., there's a best-selling book by Daniel Pink called Drive in the U.S.
His book was, by the way, translated by Omae Kenichi-san in Japan. And the Japanese title is Motivation 3.0.
Okay. And the book's fascinating. It talks about what motivates people. And they did a study there that he cites in the book at MIT where they took groups of people and paid them a lot of money, and an average amount of money and a little bit of money. And they gave them tasks to do. And for manual labor, the more you paid people, the better they did. But for creative tasks, the highest paid group did the worst, right? It's crazy. And what he illustrates in the book is something that we often see in open source, which is, when you do something so that you can be the master of it, right? It's like practicing the guitar in your free time. You do it so you can get better,
right?
So you can master your craft.
Yes.
That provides incredible motivation. When you are doing something that has a sense of purpose, Linux really has changed the world. It runs most of modern society.
Yeah.
It has become one of the greatest shared assets in the history of mankind.
Yes.
It's the coal and the steel of the information age. Participating in that, being a part of that, provides a meaningful sense of purpose to anyone.
Yes.
And so, the joy of programming, the ability to become a master at programming, being a part of something that really is changing society, these are far stronger motivations than just money. I mean, of course, money is important. But when I talk to Linus Torvalds and people around him, I mean, I could guarantee you that money is not the most important thing to these people.
Right.
It really is more at the back of their mind than at the front of their mind. And I think that's what makes Linux so great. And that's why many of these developers don't just associate themselves with their company. You know, I work for NEC, but they associate themselves with their project.
Right.
I'm a Linux kernel developer. And I think we see that more and more because it's such an important motivator for the people who participate in these projects.
It's a very interesting new way of thinking.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm obviously motivated as well. But
I can tell.
Well, when I remember when I first when I went on a date for the first time with my wife. With my now wife, we were dating at the time. I told her that I worked at a nonprofit, and the look of disappointment was terrible. She was very disappointed by that. But I think, you know, she could see, and you know, I know that this is something bigger than just any single person, and is really changing society for the better, and that's important.
Also, I think the how to say role of NPO and NGO increasing quite rapidly, obviously in the United States, but also in Japan.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, there is a new way to look at, you know, the economy and at society as we face challenges that are, you know, seemingly insurmountable, whether it's global warming or population growth or you name it. You know, working together and bettering society doesn't mean that, you know, you can't succeed or be successful financially. You know, I think today is a world where you can both enrich others and at the same time enrich yourself. I mean, and I think that's the kind of world that people want to live in, and I think that's those kind of organizations, whether it's, you know, LPI or the Linux Foundation, those are the kind of organizations that can meaningfully solve a lot of the challenges that are out there. And that's why we're seeing so many of them come into being.
Yeah. I think the benefit of moving to open source world, so to speak, is not only from a technical point of view, but there are many other important aspects which people can learn.
Sure.
And that includes, as you said, the organizational aspect, why people are motivated in a non-monetary way.
Yeah.
And I think open source community can provide many value to technical people, as I said, not only from technical point of view, but also from many other fields along the line you said.
And that's why it's so powerful, and that's
so
what we've been seeing.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks for having me.